This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. So the seized $200 million super yacht Royal Romance has been on the move in the last few days. She left her moorings in Trogir in Croatia yesterday. The yacht was observed moving after almost 2 years after she was seized by the Croatian government. And the yacht went out for what the local press called a test voyage, but more accurately, the description would be sea trials. The vessel was testing systems after being laid up for so long. The 93 metre or 305 foot super yacht was built by Fedship in 2015, and the vessel was seized by Croatia and will be handed over to Ukraine to be sold, and the proceeds go to the war efforts. Now, apparently the yacht was given a 3-hour permit by the Port Authority in Split in Croatia to sail and test equipment before returning to Trogir. The yacht's AIS was switched on for that trial. The permit was given after a request by a Croatian law firm that represents a Cypriot company, Lanelia Holdings, which is owned by a Russian, Alexei Inkin, who claims ownership of the yacht. Along with the crew of the yacht, whom are all locals, the Maritime Police, Port Authority officials, along with lawyers, were all on board during the sea trials. However, in a statement on the Ukrainian Asset Recovery Department website, or ARMA, they said about the sailing that an assurance was received that Croatia expects the vessel to be handed over to Ukraine as soon as possible. According to the Croatian side, there are no legal obstacles to the implementation of this intention. The English is not great, but it's from a Ukrainian website. In addition, ARMA received approval to conduct a re-examination of the asset to ensure a proper sale. After carrying out the assessment of the seized asset, ARMA plans to sell it. Now, Medvedchuk, the former owner until the yacht was seized, was a lawyer in Ukraine and at one time the opposition leader in a pro-Russian political party. And he's married to TV personality Oksana Marchenko. Russian President Putin is the godfather of Medvedchuk's daughter. It was believed, had Russia taken over Ukraine quickly, as previously believed, they would install Medvedchuk as president. Medvedchuk was charged with treason in Ukraine and was awaiting trial, and he was under house arrest awaiting trial. After Russia invaded Ukraine, he was at one point listed as on the run, although he denied this. He was recaptured and was put back into house arrest. However, he was eventually handed over to Russia as a part of a prisoner exchange last year, which, bearing in mind that he's actually Ukrainian, so interesting. So why is Alexei Inkin claiming ownership of this yacht? If we go back to 2022, the then captain of the yacht, who was Croatian, said that the yacht had been sold and was no longer owned by Viktor Medvedchuk. He was being interviewed by a local newspaper when he went on to say that that was the reason the yacht was in Rijeka in Croatia, because why would it be here otherwise, as it was normally docked in Monaco. However, the yacht had regularly gone to Rijeka whilst formerly owned by Medvedchuk, so this statement was false. As you can see here, we've got some photographs of the yacht laid up in Rijeka in 2016. So is this an attempt by this Russian Alexei Inkin to claim ownership of the yacht in order to sail it back to the original owner, Viktor Medvedchuk? Say that it's been sold to this other person who's not on any sanctions lists, and then the owner can then take the yacht and take it back to, sail it to some Russian port somewhere. Well, it seems the Ukrainian authorities are ignoring this information and they are preparing to sell the yacht regardless. So we'll move on to our next story, and this is about the former military vessel that ran aground in Hawaii. As you can see in the photograph here from Guy Lawrence, the vessel is now listing heavily to port. If we zoom in on the hull, you can see lots of damage to that hull. Apparently there are holes in the hull which would cause it to sink if they tried to refloat it. The Coast Guard also says that the vessel has started to leak an unknown substance into the water. This is quite concerning, isn't it? They're currently still working to remove anything they can that's harmful to the ocean. Initially, they looked like they were going to tow the vessel, where apparently the costing of that was in excess of $1 million. So it looks like the vessel will be cut up in place. Even this was priced at between $149,000 and $600,000. And now, staying in Maui, another vessel has grounded in Maui, just 8 kilometers or 5 miles away from the previous vessel we just mentioned. This vessel is a ferry that travels between Maui and Lanai. The boat grounded Monday morning just meters from the Island Sands condominium complex. As you can see in the footage here from a local news channel, the vessel appears to be only partially grounded. As you can clearly see, the vessel is bobbing up and down in the water. Apparently also they have an anchor in the water which will hopefully prevent the vessel from going any further towards land. They are planning to try to refloat the vessel at the next high tide. Well, stay with us for updates on that story. All right, we've got a Friday yacht spot here. We've got 3 vessels actually. The first one is this one, Motor Yacht Venus. This vessel was built for Steve Jobs, but he commissioned the build, but he never actually got to see the finished vessel as he passed away before it was completed. It's now owned by his surviving family. This is on the Gold Coast in Queensland, and you can see here it's docked near Motor Yacht Australia. This is the yacht that we reported on that ran aground in Singapore a few months ago. And move on to the next one. This is Motor Yacht Opera. This is in Dubai. Owner of this vessel is Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, who's a member of the Abu Dhabi royal family. Massive yacht, 146 meters or 479 feet, with a gross tonnage in excess of 12,000. So this is one of the largest yachts in the world. It's probably like number 5 on the largest yachts by gross tonnage, I would imagine. And lastly, this is in from Troy at City Center Yachts in Miami. This is a 115 meter or 377 foot super yacht. Was built in 2021 for Michael Lee Chin. She was sold not long after in the largest brokerage deal in yachting history, selling for $330 million, and is now owned by a Canadian garbage collector. Now, if you want to know more on that story, I'll put a link in the description and above here, and you can go and watch a video that we made on that boat last year in France, in south of France. Are there security systems on any of the yachts that have missile defense / laser systems to prevent attacks on the yachts? Okay, remember to check out our new podcasts at Yacht Report Podcast on YouTube. And you can also find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well as Audible. Here we talk about all things super yachts in a more informal, relaxed atmosphere with anecdotal stories from past adventures in the industry. Episode 3 is now live on the podcast. What I'm going to be doing in this series of vlogs is recording the journey across the Atlantic. And also remember to check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/esysman. You'll find many videos not featured on YouTube, including the Atlantic vlog series, and also lots of behind the scenes and extra footage from our various trips from last year. Now, if you've got any information for us about any of the stories here or any other stories, please be sure to get in touch the normal fashion. You can get us in the email address and the ticker. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and you can also get us on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.